Howdy, Laoshi Lawrence McElroy here for Water Tiger School of Tai Chi Chuan. Another video. It's been a while. As we announced in our last video last month, we're doing this a little less often because things are opening up. So, sort of a good news, bad news situation. Good news, things are opening up, or things have opened up. Bad news is, hey, things have opened up. So this series was started in March of last year for, the reason that the world stopped. But we're going to keep the channel alive. We're still going to post periodic training videos on Qigong, Tai Chi, physical training, things like that from time to time. And still hope to pull out our old archives of CD-ROM and see if there's any video footage from past live events and seminars and that sort of thing that might be good to post to this channel. So anyway, so there you go. There's that. Today is going to be sort of short. What we're going to do is introduce you to Water Tiger School's approach to a Qigong massage, an energy work massage that's meant to sort of smooth and balance the Qi. It's something that we do at Water Tiger School anytime we do either the primary or intermediate sets of fragrant Qigong, Chi and Qigong. It's recommended some sort of Qigong massage is completed after that particular set. It's also something that we recommend maybe after other external Qigong sets as well, or a long Qigong-based meditation. You might be familiar, if you know Water Tiger School, we also do what we refer to as a time-extended version of our Tai Chi Qigong breathing set. And it might be a good idea to do after that, if it takes you a while to get through that. Or, if it just feels like you need to balance your Qi. So you may need some things. Not really some things, but you may need a chair. I'm going to get up, start moving around a little bit. By the way, might have some furry little visitors while we're doing this. The chair will be when we get to the lower body. A lot of people find that it's necessary for them to sit down to massage, a single leg at a time. You may also just get by with the chair by setting the foot on it so you can play down that leg. If you have an outstanding sense of balance, you can massage that leg. Obviously, I do not have an outstanding sense of balance this morning while you're on one leg, but you'd be on that one leg for quite a long time. So, I'll talk more about the lower body when we get there, but that might be the reason for the chair. I highly recommend, if not, wish I could twist your arm to get you to remove watches, rings, that sort of thing. So, my Fitbit's going off. Well, it's not going off, I'm taking it off. I wasn't getting dinged with an alarm or anything. I do still have my class necklaces on and my stopwatch. They're leather strapped, stone, little stone emblems. And the stopwatch just, I kind of feel naked without it. But you don't really want any metal necklaces, especially heavy metal, around the neck. For this. I also recommend, if you've been doing stuff since the last time you washed your hands, wash your hands, press pause, go and wash your hands, come back, push play, and oh, hey, you're back, good. And there you go. Just because we're, part of this massage does the face. Right now, excuse me while I finish my mint. Right now in the studio, at this time, as we post this, we're currently playing the Fragrant Qigong set. And we have people in class, in studio, and remote. And we don't do the facial portion of this massage in the studio because it's very difficult to wash our hands, get to the mat, and not touch anything else. So it's just, yes, we're in a much better place than we were a year ago this time, even just 3 months ago of this time. But that's just something that I don't want to have people have to do. So anyway, there's no real warm-up. There's nothing really to do. We start the Qigong massage, and different people have different approaches, as always, with this stuff. And this massage has evolved over the last, I'd say, 20 years, since it was added to our lexicon of things that we do. But we start at the head and we work our way down. There are some shortcuts that you can do. For instance, you can't really do both legs at the same time, but you could, instead of doing one arm, which we will do one arm and then do the other arm, you could do the Qigong massage on both arms at the same time, if you're really, really specific about what you're doing. At the end of the limbs, there is a movement that we've always referred to as Chi sandpaper, but we realized that sandpaper is sort of like taking something off, and that's not really what we mean. Yes, it's meant to sort of smooth any edges that remain in the limbs, and we do it with the limbs because they're utilized more in the way that we move and that sort of thing than our torso is, although everything's connected. But anyway, it's sort of more of like, smoothing out spackle on a wall, not scraping it off, smoothing out body and fender putty, that sort of thing, smoothing out a pot before you throw it in the kiln. So it's not stripping anything away, it's just making sure that everything is smooth. And you do 3 passes, and you could do the whole massage that way, following the same pattern that we follow. Small little circles. You can use your fingertips, you can use the palms of your hands, you can use a combination. You don't want to get the circles too big, because part of the Qigong massage is you're really paying attention to what it is that you're doing and what you are feeling. So if you feel something, and the phrase that we normally use is, something's thirsty. If it wants attention, then hang out there and work with it, explore it, until it feels like, okay, my thirst is quenched. Take 2. And then move on. You don't want to do this too quickly. You don't want to cover too much space, because no backtracking. If you go by, say, the Bakwei point, the crown point of the head, and you get, and half an inch beyond it, it's like, oh no, the Bakwei wanted some attention. It's too late. Finish the massage, then go back and do something more with that particular point, but do not backtrack during the massage itself. And I think that's it. So we start with a single clap, and you rub the hands, not necessarily until they are hot or warm or anything, but until you feel a sense that they have been energized. At any point in the massage, you will want to, and if you feel like your hands have lost their energy, go back to that single clap, rub the hands again until they feel energized, and then go back into the massage at whatever point you left it. The massage should be continuous, so you don't want to stop beyond doing that. You want to keep it as continuous as possible. That's a better phrase. So for instance, if you think that know that you're going to sit down, you want to do that as we work, when we get to the point where we're working the Shen Yu cavity over the kidney channel, over the kidney vessel. You want to go to your chair, so you're at your chair after we clear the buttocks. Then you can set and go right into the leg massage. Back in the day when this was part of a public class, I would talk and I would talk and I would talk about, okay, now, you're working your back, so if you're going to sit down for the legs, go and get yourself in front of a chair, go and get yourself in front of a chair. Right now, this is your time. And I'd, clear the buttocks and go, okay, now, move into the leg. Quarter of the class, spread out across the room, would drop the massage, run to a chair, and sit down. Don't do that. Single clap, Rub the hands until they feel energized. Again, that may or may not generate warmth. And our starting point, sort of the top of the and sides of the front of the skull. So for some people, hairline. And I'm doing these little, let's see if you get, okay, you can see. These little circles with the pads of my fingers and my thumbs. As I work up over the top and the sides of my skull. For some, it's probably also a good idea, you know, if you have stuff in your hair as far as, you know, a hairband or something like that, to get rid of those. I should have mentioned that before. So I apologize. And remember the crown point of the head, right on that line, opening of ear on the center line. Some people describe it as a soft spot, but not everybody can feel it as a soft spot. And I also have a little bump that's like right behind my baccoid point. I used to think everybody had that bump. And they don't. I'm not talking about the occipital protuberance that's on the back of the skull. Say that 3 times fast. So there's another acupuncture point. It's the jade pillow that's right under that occipital protuberance that, yes, everybody has to varying degrees. And that might be another point that craves some attention. Now I'm feeling right now my thumbs are sort of right at the base of the skull, right behind the ears, and those points really want some attention. And now, as you get toward base of the skull, the top of the neck, you switch, when and if you're doing the face, to the Shangdantian acupuncture point on the lower center of the forehead. Again, I can do this with the heels of my palms, but they sort of cover more space in one time. And I like I'm going to use the word intimacy of the pads of my fingers. And I'm slowly working out over my eyebrows, so up over the tops of the eye sockets. And I'm headed toward my temples. Now, the temples tend to be a place where I use that personal pronoun on purpose, like to hang out for a while. And, you know, some people might actually tell you, you know, one side has to be clockwise, you know, turning little circles clockwise or little circles counterclockwise, or you can only use pressure. And by the way, as I'm doing this, it's not just a physical thing. You know, as we talk about like our Qigong-based meditation, how we breathe through the body, when I'm exhaling, I'm imaging exhaling through my contact points into the flesh to help work the chi. After you're done with the temples, you go to the bridge of the nose, it's right between the eyes, a little pinch, and then work down the nose. Careful when you get to the cartilage. You don't want to end up separating the cartilage on your nose. Again, only do this. There's that nasal voice. Only do this if you've washed your hands. You get to the base of the nose, the opening of the nose, the nasolabial folds, and start to work more or less the gum line and up the jawline toward the hinges really, because you got left and right, of your jaw. Now that's somewhere, especially if you tend to be a teeth clencher, not that there's been anything going on for the last year and a half, almost. Well, yeah, year and a half overall, that would cause us to clench our teeth. You might want to spend some time at the hinges of the jaw, or hinges of the jaws. Suddenly I hear shark music. And then down the lower gum line toward the little hairs on your chinny chin chin. Always breathing deep in your regular breath, relaxed, but also adding that internal breath and breathing through your hands into your flesh, into your bones, into your marrow. Settling, smoothing, and balancing the chi. Now, though it's not officially part of a standard Qigong massage, I like to do a wipe of the lips, and just sort of loosens the lips and everything. They usually do 3. And then if you want, I like this, you'd either go to your neck or just work from the top of the ear where it attaches to the skull up into the ear itself, and then down to the earlobes, doing the best you can if you still have earrings in. I only have one currently, my little yin yang, which I am seldom without. I think that was correct. And then all 4 sides of the neck. Be careful not to strangle yourself. So again, there's all sorts of veins and arteries that are important, as well as the pathways and meridians of energy, but there's also cartilage in the front, so you want to be careful as you're working down the 4 sides of the neck. Once you get to the base of the neck in front and back, and more or less the suprasternal notch, then go to one arm. I tend to usually do the left first, but you're going to do both sides, starting with the trap, the trapezius muscle, the lufarygno muscle, and then out over the delt, and begin massaging all 4 sides of that arm down the arm. So again, notice the small little circles. Now, I'm not really kneading the flesh like I would be if I was doing a regular massage, but I'm also not thinking about being in the surface of the arm. I'm working into the muscle, into the bone, into the marrow. And again, at any point, just know that we're headed toward the ends of the fingers. So we have a tapping exercise that we do, stirring the ignored, and we do not tap beyond the fold of the wrists. But here we do work into the hand and the 5 of the 1. So again, if you're short on time, you could do both arms at one time, and then choose a hand and massage it with the other hand, then use the hand that massaged the one to massage the one that was doing the massaging. And then, as intimately as you need, play down the phalanges of the thumb in each of the 4 fingers. Yeah, I got the palm of the hand. It's like, did I do the palm of my hand? But I did. Again, if you're short on time, you could squeeze and manipulate all 4 fingers really at once, but I like to get all 4 sides of the fingers like we get all 4 sides of the arms. After all, we often refer to the fingers as, another physicality of the arm, because you have the shoulder of the base knuckle, and you have the proximal phalange as the upper arm, you have the second knuckle as the elbow, and the intermediate phalange as the forearm, the next knuckle as the wrist, and the tertiary phalange as the hand. And then here's that smoothing of the chi. This is not sloughing things off, right? We have that squeegee-like movement we do as we finish each section of stirring the ignored. But this is that idea of just a final sort of evening out and smoothing. And there's no flick like there is at the end of stirring the ignored, the 2 sections of stirring the ignored. Starting at the trap here, working down that trapezius muscle into the delt. It's a failure on my part when I learned the Qigong massage that I asked exactly what were the determining features. I have my idea. It follows a certain pattern, flow, and location of chi meridians. But I never asked why. You'll recognize sort of what I'm talking about more when we get to the torso, because right now we've done the entire head and neck and doing the whole arms, but the torso follows a very specific and not a broad pattern of massage. I think my left arm was thirstier than my right arm because this massage is going quicker down my right than my left. Breathing still. Again, remember, if it feels like, hey, my hands have lost their energy, then return to that single clap. And the fact that I'm not really kneading the flesh, that this is, yes, an external process, but it's also an internal process. I'm using that internal breath to get deeper, not my actual fingertips and my hands. It shouldn't be as taxing on your hands as if I were doing a real physical massage. Doing a deep tissue thing. You'll also notice, Qigong massage, I'm really working away from my heart, where I believe, because I think I saw it somewhere on the internet, everything on the internet has to be true. And it's been such a long time since I've had an actual massage that they usually start at the extremities and work toward the heart, not away from it. I can't remember the last time I had an actual physical massage. That's one of the issues, as you've noticed with the Qigong massage, is there's a lot of dead air to fill. So I just keep rambling. Call me Don Chatty. getting to the end of the 5 of the 1. And then here's smoothing out the pottery before it goes in the kiln. Not sure if I like the finality of, that aspect of the image, but I like that smoothing. If you don't know what body and fender putty is, and I might be using the wrong term, Google it, Bing it, whatever it is that you do. I've done that. And starting at the suprasternal notch, that little divot that's right there. And then working down the center line on the front of the chest. And a little point right there that's always a little bit thirsty. There's always a little bit of stagnation there. An injury 40 years ago. 43 years ago. When we get to the base of the rib cage, and then working out right at the underside of the ribs. And then notice you're going to come in relatively close, if not at the tops of your hips. There's a couple of acupuncture points on the gallbladder and spleen meridian on both sides there that may be thirsty. And then playing out sort of across the back of that structure, sort of base of ribs in the upper lower back, until both hands, both sets of fingers, reach the spine, and then working down the spine to where at Water Tiger we place the Ming Men point, the gate of life. Our Shiadantian acupuncture point is there. The Ming Men is on the equivalent position on the body, on the spine, and then spread out over the Shen Yu, the essence door. This is always done best flesh to flesh. So hence, now my Fitbit is yelling at me. I made sure I got my steps in before we went into production this morning, but I still had my timer set to warn me that I only had 15 minutes to finish the hour. So this is where, if you're going to sit down, you want to get yourself to the chair. But again, maybe you're just going to set one leg up on the chair. I am going to remain standing. Although I may set, or I might put my foot up just so you can see what that would look like. So going to the buttocks. So our studio is across the street from a Dunkin'. And of course we do this massage. And we're at this point as it's darker outside, so clear view into the studio. Yeah, I can tell even across the street. There are some odd facial expressions as they see this group of people in this martial arts studio all rubbing their butt at the same time. So again, if I'm going to sit down, as soon as I clear the buttocks to go to one leg, that's when I sit. Both hands as much as possible, especially in the upper leg. For the lower leg, that might not be necessary. And here, again, for some people, might be their choice as they start to work their way down the leg, or boom. Now you will notice as I do this, I'm going to back up so I can get my feet in here too, that I'm leaning into my weighted leg as I work the other leg. You want to keep as much weight off of this leg as possible. I don't want to be on this leg as I'm massaging it. And once I get beyond the knee and into the lower leg and down toward the foot, I tend to, and some of this is my body dynamic, because I don't have a lot of calf, to just lean into my weighted leg as I use the other hand to finish the massage. Getting the Achilles tendon, working the heel, working the plantar, is it plantar? Plantar fasciitis, right? That's the illness of the plantar tendon, but that big tendon in your instep. And then maybe I will go back to both hands in this position to work the toes. As Mel Prophet would say, only the toes knows. There's something else for you to Google. This little piggy, to market. This little piggy stayed home. This little piggy had roast beef. This little piggy had none. And this little piggy went on to star in an insurance commercial and said, "Wee wee," all the way home. And then same thing as we did with the arms. Smoothing out, balancing, really smoothing out here. That's the image. The clay of a pot, spackle on the wall. And then the other leg. While you could do both arms at the same time, I would not recommend in any way, shape, or form doing both legs at the same time. It's just too much flesh. You really want to, especially in the thighs, the quads, hamstring, and back, the abductor and adductor muscles. There's just all too much here. In the upper leg, especially. We're almost home. Funny, given there were a lot of squats and lunges in yesterday's workout. I'm not feeling more stagnation in my legs. And again, maybe I'm doing this. Or maybe I'm sitting down. I do not really recommend doing this because there's too much distraction in maintaining one's balance when you're doing this kind of physical work. And you want the mind focused. Because what do they say? The chi goes where the mind goes. If the mind is scattered, the chi will be scattered. And we're seeking to do the reverse of that, the opposite, the other side of the coin. Ball of the foot. And the digits of the foot. You have your big toe. The other toes. And this is an opportunity to sort of manipulate the toes and even work a little bit on your toe flexibility. Right? I have flexible toes, and it's because I do things like this. Not the Qigong massage, but this manipulation of the toes. So again, this is a massage that is done by Water Tiger School, or a version of it, every time we do either the primary or the intermediate sets of fragrant Qigong, Chi and Qigong, which is an external form of Qigong. I'm going to do one more. I think this is 4. But I just felt the need. And, you know, I've done it after a really long standing Zhangzhuan, standing post meditation, and then Qigong-based meditation. I don't do that much any other real external Qigong sets at this time. Just not something that I do. But I might recommend Qigong massage after some of those sets, maybe not all of them is necessary. And just whenever you're feeling like maybe, hey, the chi's a little bit scattered, bring it in, smooth it out, and settle it. So, Qigong massage, there you go. As always, I hope you found this useful, informative, perhaps a little entertaining. And we'll be back at some point in the future. I think it's been about 3 or 4 weeks since our last video post, so that's probably going to be close to what the pattern is. And we still have lots of stuff that we could possibly address in this YouTube series for Water Tiger School of Tai Chi Chuan. So, Lawrence McElroy, almost signing off because I want to mention, you know, we post the link to our Facebook page, so, you know, of course, comments are wide open there. We do, however, screen all of the comments on the YouTube channel because the YouTube algorithms themselves don't seem to be doing a good job screening for inappropriate content in the posts, because when we weren't pre-screening, we were getting a lot of, shall we call them hot links to places and people. And I'll stop there. So now, Laoshi Lawrence McElroy signing off for Water Tiger School. Again, hope that was informative. I hope that felt good. I feel very relaxed and ready to attack the rest of my day. So, take care.